go. Let's do this right now. This is episode, holy crap, we're almost at 300.
Oh, wow.
298 episodes. No Laugh Track Podcast. I'm Justin Severson, the host. We're here to Acme because this is Acme's podcast. Back for the second time on this podcast.
On this particular podcast, he's here once again.
He is here. That is his voice, sort of.
Yes, sort of. It's one of many.
It's Dean Edwards.
What up, Just? How you doing, man? Good to see you again.
Very good. Do you remember the last time you were here? It was episode number. I wrote it down. No, I can't remember. Oh, 209.
Oh, wow.
209.
So we've, damn, it's been, wow.
Almost 2 years.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Almost 2 years.
2 years next month. Because I remember it was my birthday week.
Yeah.
It's my birthday week. And my wife, it was her birthday, and then our anniversary. Everything was that week, so that's why. And what's funny is I remembered I hadn't come here last year because I heard Prince maybe 2-3 months ago, and I was like, oh, I got to call Lewis.
Oh,
and
that
so
was your reminder that you weren't here.
Honestly, and I called Lewis, and a day later I was booked. So thank you, Lewis.
Nice. Nice. All right. Well, tell me everything you've done in the last 2 years. No. Did you bring your wife with this time? Is she showing up?
No, this time, it's because, as a professor, actually school is over for her. At least the teaching part is over, but our kids are still in school. In New York, schools run later. I know I have friends that school ended in mid-May, early to mid-May for their kids, but our kids go till they're actually done in a week.
Oh, okay.
About a week, and had that happened, then we might have been able to swing it. But I'm not having as much fun, which some might say, well, that sounds kind of corny, but actually we had so much fun last time doing things that I didn't think I would enjoy.
She's not going to listen to this podcast. You don't have to say you're not having as much fun.
Come on. Honestly, when I walked into the hotel, I was like, oh, wow, because we had so much fun in Minneapolis together, riding bikes to the museum and taking the train to the Mall of America. So, we had a lot of fun. So I was like, well, I won't go out of my way to do a bunch of things. I'll go to. I have Movie Pass, so I'll go to see a couple of movies.
Oh, you got the whatever that thing is.
Yeah, man, Movie Pass is dope. You pay $10 a month, and you can see a movie. You can see 30 movies in a month. You can see, I guess, a movie a day. And so, and I just got it. This is why it's good for someone like myself. A, because I go to movies a lot anyway. Yeah. B, because in New York City, the average movie probably at minimum is $14, as high as maybe $16, $17. Yeah. And you might find in one of the smaller theaters in the outer boroughs $12, $13. But you're averaging probably $14 per ticket. So paying for this this card a month is $10, and I can see as many. So if I only see one movie, I'm still paying less. Yeah. Than I would pay to go to the movies. And I received my card last Thursday, and I've been to 3 movies since
I received my card.
Yeah.
It's so official.
I received my card. I'm part of the club now. And
congratulations,
I saw a documentary on Andre Leontali, The Gospel According to Andre Leontali, fashionista. He was a guy that works for Vogue. He became an institution in fashion. Okay. Can you tell my wife chose that movie?
Yeah. Okay.
But he was a black dude from down south, so there was some historical reference for me as well, and it was inspiring. Went to see that, then took my eldest to see Solo on Saturday, and then I went. Yesterday, I went to see, for everybody that doesn't know, right? And you can ask when I come back and we talk on this podcast, you'll have seen it. There was this movie, Upgrade. Have you heard of this movie?
Nope.
I never heard of it either. I landed on Tuesday. I went online to see what movies were playing. It said Upgrade. I watched the trailer. I was like, yo, this looks almost like an indie sci-fi, but it had a slick sort of concept. And I went to see it yesterday after we did media, and that movie was dope.
Really?
Movie was good, man.
Is that did you go to an independent theater here?
No, I actually went to the Icon.
Okay.
I went to
St. Louis Park, or no, not St. Louis Park.
West. It was like
West End. Yeah,
West
End.
End.
That's nice.
Yeah. Well, I figured I could Uber out there, see that. Was gonna see another movie. Now I almost feel guilty sneaking in movies, right? And I said, well, you know what? It makes sense if I can just go and pay or use my card to see another movie. Only movie that was playing within the right time was that Action Park that Johnny Knoxville movie.
Oh.
And
Nope.
you're
Nope.
shaking your head, and it was exactly why. I actually sat down and I weighed that. I said, "Do you really? Yeah, I'll go get some lunch and go back to the room. I don't need to.
Yeah.
I've never paid to see a Johnny Knoxville movie, even if it only averages out to about $1 for the movie.
Right.
I'm good."
I heard some things about that Movie Pass where people are getting turned down in some places.
Well, funny you would say that, because the first time I used it last week, the guy at the concession stand, I was excited. I was like, "Hey, I just used my Movie Pass for the first time." He's like, "Oh, cool." He's like, "Did you have any problems with it?" I said, "No." He said, "No, because you know what? A lot of people have been complaining about problems." So I went online to look up to see what some of the problems were. And one of the, I guess, caveats with the card is you have to be within like a mile radius of the theater in order. So say I go to see that movie Upgrade, right? What I did is I went on the Movie Pass app. Then you can zoom in to see what movie theaters utilize the service. The Icon one was one of the theaters that utilized it. So I went there, and when I got to the theater, then I clicked on the movie time, and it said hold order or whatever it says. I clicked on it, and then it locked in, and then I go upstairs, give them the card, and they just run the ticket. What I've read is that a lot of people attempt to purchase the ticket or lock in the order, and they're not close enough. They're not within that radius, and that causes concern. Or
and they think so. Then the app knows. Well, he's probably not actually going to show up. Is that the idea?
I think they just want to make sure that I'm not buying the ticket
for somebody else.
Of
course.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, because I could be hitting you up when you're back home in New York. Like,
right.
Hey, I want to
why
I want to go see Solo. Will you give me a $10 ticket? Yeah.
Right. And so in order to cut that down, they say, listen, you have to use your card tied to your phone. And the other problem is if you hit a pocket or an area where your phone service is sort of janky, then that's the other issue. So I think that's where people have probably had the majority of their problems arise. I've used it 3 times and haven't had a problem yet, and hope I don't.
Nice. How about here at the club? How the last 2 nights?
Oh man, the shows. I was telling your wonderful owner that the first night I got in because I had I'm gonna say I probably had about 5 or 6 weeks off. I was like every weekend from the last weekend of December until March, mid-March. I was either on the road every weekend or I was on like a 2-week cruise gig run. And then I had the family. We went on took a little mini vacation at the end of when they had spring break at the end of March, and then I had a casino gig in Atlantic City, and then I was home for I think 6 weeks. This is the 7th week, so I was on. And when you're someone like myself that's on the road a lot, when you're home for the first 2 or 3 weeks is cool, and then you start, oh gosh, I gotta go, and then you know it's bad when you're there for a long time, and your kids are like, hey, you got to bounce, dog. You've been home. I'm like, well, no, don't you want me to be dad? Yeah, we get it. You're our father. Go. You know,
we remember.
Yeah. And
how old are the kids? I don't know if we ever talked about
16, 13.
Okay.
And so when I got in on Tuesday, and my merch I hope comes today. I've called every day in the merch. It was sent from L.A.
There's a box in back here.
Oh, well, that's it. It finally came.
Yeah.
Hooray.
And with your name on it, so it's got to be
perfect,
it.
Perfect. Finally. Oh, you have no idea.
Okay.
I brought 17 leftover T-shirts from the last road gig, the casino, And I
saw them
didn't
back
bring
there.
them. Yeah, almost
Okay.
didn't bring them. Glad I did because we sold like 10. We sold 9 yesterday, and Nick Swartzen insisted on paying for one on Tuesday night. But Tuesday when I got in, I've been on this whole, I think most comics that saw the Zen of Gary Shandling documentary on HBO, you want to be inspired. I do. That's why I got into this. I want to inspire people, and so each time this is the first big headlining gig I've had since watching the documentary, and so I just in my what I call my log, my book, I actually just write out these affirmations, and
really?
and I've taken time to focus a little bit more because it's easy to get lazy. When you find any level of success, it's easy to become a little more complacent. And so I said, you know what, I'm looking at Gary, and I've been keeping this log, these sort of journals and diaries since I started. Really, I used to have an audio diary that I kept. I know her. She looks familiar. A couple of hours ago, we were playing with Dave Mordell.
Oh, yeah.
And so I have, these books, like books and books of just my thoughts and ideas over the last, 20 some odd years.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what, you write the jokes and you write what's been going on, but take a little time to write, focus on when you get on stage, become one with the audience, and don't just dive right into your material. Take a moment to, ease into the material and let the audience, become one with you, and connect.
Yeah.
We so often we don't connect because I wrote all this material. I don't have this much time, but I'm going to take a moment.
Oh yeah. When you're at a comedy club like this, you have the time.
Yeah. Especially because the beauty of this club, people listen. Mm-hmm. You don't get that everywhere across the nation. At some of the larger chain clubs in some of the larger cities, people pay their money plus their 2-drink minimum. They're like, nah, you got to prove it immediately.
Right.
Now I'm going to ease into this, and I did. I was telling Louis when I first got on stage Tuesday, I didn't get to a joke probably for 15, 20. There was a couple sitting up front, and I asked how they met, and thinking they met on an app online. Turns out, dude got towed, and she was about to park there, and he told her, no, don't park there. And jokingly, I said to him, you're better than me, because if I got towed, I'd be like, oh, you getting towed too. We're going to get towed together.
Not the only dumb one.
Right, and then I said, oh, so you exchanged numbers? He was like, nah. He was like, I left and I went to work or whatever. And like later on that day, he was in the building he had been headed to, and she happened to be in the same building. And so he asked her Instagram, and next thing you know, they started messaging, and they've been dating for 7 months. I was like, you wouldn't find that out if I just dove right into the material. That's what makes for those fun pockets, and you're thinking on your toes, and it becomes. I don't like when people use the term it becomes more organic, but it is. it does feel more organic, more just free spirited versus here I'm sticking to a script.
Did you ever cross paths with Gary Shandling?
No,
never.
Never met him. Big fan of. Here's one. Never really watched Larry Sanders, but I will now. I was a fan of when Fox first started.
Yes.
The Fox Network. This is the theme to Gary Show. The opening theme to Gary Show. This is the music that I loved.
When they play the credits.
Yeah. I love when I'm always at the part where I start to whistle. Yeah, like I thought that show. I remember because I was a teenager. I watched. I was like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah, like how smart is this?
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
And he was the first because keep in mind that movie or that show came out during that era of Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Trading Places a couple of years prior to, where the characters in the movie started breaking the fourth wall. Yeah. Right? And so Forrest Whitaker. Forrest Whitaker's Day Off. Ferris Bueller, when when he's like, if I go down, it's not going to be by a guy like that. And then he goes back to the scene, and Eddie Murphy saying, what was the scene where in Trading Places where the guy who's like, we're trading pork and orange juice. That's where we trade orange juice and pork. And Billy Ray just looks at the camera and is like, and he turns away, and which I think the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air borrowed from, because he always broke the fourth wall.
Yeah.
A lot of people, and Gary Shandling was the first one to really embrace it consistently.
Oh, yeah.
Where we became... the character that we were watching was fully aware that we were watching them. And Gary Shandling let us in on the joke, and let us sort of. He's like, I'm talking to you, right? And I thought his show was brilliant when it was on. And I'm actually thinking back, I don't know why I never watched Larry Sanders.
Well, okay, I was just gonna say, I think I know why neither of us watched it. This is just a guess. Here's my reason: I didn't have HBO.
We did.
Oh, you did?
We've always had.
No, we didn't.
We had it, and I think looking back, it looked more mature than I felt like giving my attention to. Where there was definitely a feel, a texture. Most sitcoms back in the day, you could tell they were videotaped. They were on videotape, even though they say this was videotaped in front of a live studio audience. The Cosby Show's videotaped. Roseanne was videotaped on a stage. Gary Shandling's show was videotaped on a stage, versus the Larry Sanders Show, which was, at least it was shot on film. It was shot on film. I don't know if they did it on set and in front of a live studio audience. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I think that had a lot to do with why I didn't gravitate towards it, because I as a young cat, I was like, this is not for me. You know, like MASH. MASH was filmed, and it didn't.
Yeah, it was,
and it was just mature. And I remember watching it, and I was like, I don't get it, right? Now, Gilligan's Island was filmed, was on film, and Gilligan's Island and the Brady Bunch, and there were a lot of shows that were filmed, but they had a sitcom-y feel versus feeling like you were shooting on location someplace.
Yeah. I did watch MASH as a kid. It was on after the news, the local news.
That's exactly, it came on at 7:30 back in New York.
It was more like if I can stay up. I'm talking about the late news.
Oh,
it was on after the late news.
Wow, okay.
And I'm thinking, like, this is, if my mom lets me sit here a little bit longer, this is just me staying up later.
Right.
If I'll use watching MASH as an excuse to stay up another half an hour.
That's funny.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, dude.
Sure.
That's for us, it came on at 7:30 p.m. So I think coming out, Three's Company came on in reruns at 7 o'clock. And at 7:30, and you knew it was 7:30 because MASH came on, and sometimes it would stay on. We would eat dinner, and then the TV was on. But sometimes my dad was like, "No, I want to watch the McNeil Lehrer news report on PBS." No. And that was my exit strategy.
Right. Yeah, I think here locally it was MASH was on after the late news for years, and then they probably went through every episode, 10 times.
Right.
Cosby Show replaced it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
interesting.
And now these days it goes, of course, straight to like Fallon or whatever.
Right.
Things have changed.
Right. Changed drastically, yeah.
Let's see. I got so many notes here. I don't want to skip a lot of the stuff I
love
wrote
that you were so prepared, man. It makes me feel like I'm on Arsenio.
I forgot. I forgot to give attention to the dog pound when we came out.
These are people that like sitting in empty comedy clubs.
These are people who think they're here for Chris Rock.
Right.
I'll never forget. I may have said this on this podcast before, but Arsenio, he would.
You say his name like Ricardo Montalban. He used to always love. Montalban would say Arsenio, and you have a strong Ennio.
Oh, okay, Arsenio.
You say it properly.
All right. was it his announcer or him? I don't remember, but it was on. And tonight's show, we've got, sounds. It was him. He would do the announcement. Yeah, sounds of blackness. And we have. And then he fucked this up, and I'll never forget it. It was an actress, but he goes, we have the Park Overall. Her name was Park Overall. She was from that TV show Empty Nest. Remember the TV show Empty Nest?
Yeah, NBC. Yeah.
NBC, yeah. With Christy McNichol and that Mulligan guy.
Yeah.
And he was like, the Park Overall.
Oh, wow.
It's not a the.
Right.
Arsenio.
Right. Come on,
you're making
man.
this lady sound like she's a thing.
Oh, gosh.
I'll never forget.
Surprised they didn't correct that.
Yeah.
They taped it early in the day. They could have. Somebody could have.
Yeah, right.
Could have fixed that. Because we didn't know when we were kids that you watched. I didn't know until years later. I was like, oh, so this isn't happening right now.
Oh, right. Yeah, that it's actually filmed in the afternoon.
This is taped when the sun was up.
Yeah, they didn't get together at 10 o'clock.
Right. Right.
No, they're already home after dinner.
Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. Did you go with your movie pass to go see Avengers: Infinity War?
I hadn't received it yet.
But you've already seen it.
Oh, yeah. I saw Infinity War. Yeah.
I have not yet.
Oh, wow.
But
wow, that's brave of you. Because have you had spoilers?
Oh, I mean that's the thing. Like all I know is there's Thanos. Something happens.
Okay.
Every time I see something, I look away or stop listening. It's usually like on social media or something.
Yeah,
some website where I just go, oh no, I'm not. I'm gonna look away. So it hasn't really been spoiled. I did just finally watch Black Panther about a week ago.
Thoughts?
Got that under my belt. Oh, I liked it.
Okay.
I liked it a lot.
He's not just saying that because I'm sitting here.
Wakanda Forever. White Panther, not even as good.
It was funny. People don't. There's a White Tiger, Marvel superhero.
There is
White Tiger. He was Marvel's Puerto Rican superhero. Yeah. I used to collect. So there was White Tiger. Yeah, White Tiger, and he had a necklace with two paws and a tiger head.
Tiger head. I've never seen them.
It was like this amulet that he was a Boricua. He was a Nuyorican that had powers, and I was like, and I remember being a kid saying, "Oh, that's funny. There's a Black Panther and there's a Puerto Rican superhero, White Tiger. Who else is missing?" There was
the. Who was the one? I had the doll of the action figure, like the 12-inch or whatever, of like was it Black Falcon or something?
Black Falcon,
right?
Falcon. Yeah.
I had that one. Anyway, did you see this thing? I saw this on Twitter last night. There's a guy who has now seen Avengers: Infinity War 43 times.
Okay, he
keeps posting about it on Twitter.
He needs a movie pass. I hope he has it. Actually,
there's no evidence of movie pass,
and actually, you can only see a movie one time if you've seen, you can't go back using. That's abusing. Well, it's because the movie is not getting the maximum amount of money.
Oh, sure.
So I get it.
43
times.
Yeah.
Word.
And I can only assume that as we're sitting here, he's probably in the theater again. Yeah, because this is legit. The guy's he's got a new outfit on every day, like a different Marvel T-shirt and hat, in front of the poster outside the theater.
He lives with his parents.
I don't know.
Clearly,
I'm curious. Who are you? Like, what are you picturing? What does this guy look like?
I picture. I picture John C. Reilly. Like I picture, is that the actor's name from?
Yeah, there's John C. Reilly from Step Brothers.
Yeah, I picture a guy that looks like him.
More like CeeLo Green.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Black guy.
And
short.
It's funny. After I said that, I was like, but he could be black. I was like, yeah.
Yep.
But really?
I
wonder what he does.
I don't know. Well,
besides go to the movies.
I don't know. Here's the thing. I'm not doing the guy any favors by mentioning his name because he's got. I think he's some sort of like a video game Twitch thing or something. So somebody's not on my radar, but somebody that a lot of people know who is.
Okay, that
makes sense.
So now it makes more sense. So he's not. He probably has a gig like in some aspect of the video game world. has a following, makes a decent living, so he has free time, enough free time
Seems like
that
it.
he can give. Because Avengers: Infinity War is at least 2.5.
Well, someone I saw one of the replies to him, and a guy did the math, and he was like, "Dude, do you realize you've spent over 5 days in a movie theater with this one movie?"
What if he gets popcorn every time? Only because
I'd get sick of it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I love, like, if I go to the movies, because it's almost like a physiological response where I remember being a kid and going to the movies with my parents, my dad, my brother and sister, and sitting with the bucket of popcorn. So now, even if I've just eaten lunch and filled up, if I'm sitting in the dark, I think when we went to see Avengers, we ate, so I didn't need to eat, and we sat, and then I was like, I need some popcorn, just to feel like it's right,
mm-hmm.
you know. And wow, 43 times,
yeah, and counting probably.
What if he has a girlfriend? He doesn't live in New York City.
There was never one in the pictures.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, no surprise there.
Did you ever? Did you ever sneak food into the theater? Because I certainly did.
Yes.
Still might occasionally.
Yes.
Have no problem teaching my kids that. My daughters.
At all.
Okay.
Snacks. I got snacks on layaway at the movie. Like, why are they so expensive? Where they get them in the airport? Only in the airport are bags of chips more expensive than
the theater
at a movie theater. Man, it's just.
Did you ever watch that TV show, The Boondocks?
Yeah. Do
you remember the
show?
Yeah, really good show. Do you remember the episode where Grandpa takes the 2 boys to the movie theater and he's wearing a trench coat? He pulls out a full fried chicken.
Yeah, I think I do. And
the one kind of do-gooder kid is like, Grandpa.
Huey and Riley.
Yeah, Huey and Riley. You can't be doing this.
Come on, Grandpa.
Yeah.
You know who does the voices?
It was Regina King, right?
King,
yeah.
but did both voices.
Isn't that amazing?
I was pissed because I was a big fan of the strip. I was a big fan of the comic of the Sunday strip, and then actually they compiled them and put them in book form, and I have all 3 of the books.
Okay.
And when they were doing the Boondocks, I don't think I auditioned. What was his name? Jason something. He was Aaron Magruder's assistant. I remember we were standing outside of the Melrose Improv in Hollywood, and he knew I did an impression of 50 Cent. And so he was like, yo, dude, Aaron's a big fan of 50 Cent. Will you call him? He was like, dude, would you call? So I did. And I was like, I'm sitting here with... So his dude, Jason, called Aaron. He's like, yo, I got 50 Cent right here. So I was like, yo, man, what's up? And he was like, oh, dude, hey, wow, man, this is all, you could, like, he was fanning out.
Uh-huh.
And then eventually I was like, nah, man, this is Dean Edwards. I'm comedian. I was on SNL, and he rolled with it, but I was like, I wonder if I just ruined my chances of getting on this show.
Yeah.
But I from what I understood, the reason they cast Regina King was because men's voices change, and a woman's voice will stay sort of in the pocket of when they're playing a little boy.
Yeah.
And so I in talking to some animators, they actually explained that I was just at DreamWorks 2 months ago, and they were explaining that you see that happen more on television than in film. They said in film, at least at DreamWorks, they said film they like to cast kids playing kids roles and adults playing adult roles. He said because most people can't hear it, but we can hear it. Right? And I said, really? And they said, yeah. He said, that happens more on television than in film, where they'll cast an adult to play a kid because it's almost disposable because they're cranking them out.
Sure.
So you don't pay as much attention. But if you're doing a big budget feature film, then somebody's going to say that's actually a woman playing that guy, that teenager.
What were you at DreamWorks for?
Oh, well,
can you say it?
Yeah, no, I do. I think I might have said that on the last one. Maybe I did. I'm Eddie's stunt double for All Things Donkey.
Still?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's the gift that continues to give.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And
what are they using the donkey in now?
Please let them continue to. There's a new, I don't know if it's a Universal theme park or just a theme, an amusement park in Dubai. That I did something. I recorded for them actually over a 2-year period from 2016 to mid to late 2017. They would have me go in and they would change some dialogue here and there, but they have these 4D rides, these 4D sort of experiences where, like you'll sit, like a bunch of people will sit in a chair and Donkey comes out. Hey, welcome to the land of make-believe. Oh, hi, Donkey. Oh, no, Donkey. I don't know if they're ready to go on this ride. Oh, Shrek, you always say, and doing that. And then it goes, and they showed me a rough edit of what they've been recording and animating for the last 2 years. And it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing just to watch the whole process come together from them sending me, bring me in to do the VO and hearing like the director give his version of Donkey just for the scratch.
Okay,
For the scratch edit before I come in and lay down my vocals, and then they actually animate around my vocals, and then bringing in all the other actors, and Puss in Boots, and all these different characters, and then finally sending it overseas or having it done in-house with all the animators. It's a lot, man.
Do they all have replacements now? From the originals?
They all have had them because, think about this. For me, it started this journey of being a jackass. No, this journey of playing Donkey after working on Shrek the Musical and getting released from the show before we went to Broadway. I'm not bitter. Jeffrey Katz, they were doing Shrek 3, and they had me come in and just do some ADR looping where you record over. So say Donkey, this for those that don't know, and maybe I said this last time, but just to reiterate, ADRing, looping is when the crew, the sound engineer or the director, they didn't get a clean edit of someone saying something. So if Donkey says, I don't know, I ain't too sure about that, Shrek. I don't know if I want to go that way, right? Eddie, when he recorded, you might heard, I don't know, I'm not going to go that way. And so now you need just that one little portion of his sentence filled in. So they brought me in to loop for Eddie for one of the escape scenes in Shrek 3.
Okay.
And then from that, they were like, the movie's coming out. We're doing, all of the McDonald's promos. And Eddie's not going to do commercial saying, have a Coke and a smile and a Big Mac, right? Why'd I just turn it into Chris Rock? That's a different DreamWorks project.
Right. We know how Eddie Murphy would end that have a Coke.
Right. But Eddie, he never sniffed. He just the cannabis, from what I understand, I wouldn't know for sure, so don't quote me. But yeah, so then that turned into, here I'm doing this this recording for these commercials, and then they were doing Shrek Halloween special, and they got everybody else, but Eddie didn't want to do it, and so they had Mike Myers and Cameron Diaz and Antonio Banderas and me. I wound up doing it. And got the same billing as them on the title card, so that felt kind of good.
Nice.
And since then, it's a decade later. There's like Shrek is still DreamWorks' biggest moneymaker and their their baby, the Golden Goose, and so we did the Dubai thing. There's a new Shrek. They did like some rebuilding for the Universal theme park out in Hollywood. When
are you going to get to Dubai and see the fruits of your labor?
Funny you would say that. I think that's supposed to. If it hasn't opened, it's opening this year, and or maybe it's open already, but I've been to Dubai 5 times. So
performing, right?
Yeah. So I just spoke to the people that brought me there the first time. Comedy grouping or company called Dubomedy, and I said I told them recently they just celebrated 10-year anniversary, so I'm hoping that I get back over there because Dubai was awesome.
150 degrees.
It was slavery hot. It was blazing.
Hey, I was listening to several episodes recently of your podcast.
Oh, I hope you enjoyed
For the Market Protocol.
Oh, and he said it correctly. I like that. That's what I'm talking about.
Because I've heard you say it a bunch of times.
Right. Which episodes did you listen to?
Most recently, your two most recent.
Oh, okay.
John Lasseter.
John Lasseter, yeah, the two-parter.
Now, here's what you know what stuck out to me among many things of him telling stories? He played basketball here?
Yeah, yeah, right. That's right. Yes, because he's from Denver, but yeah, he played here, and then
I'm listening, and you're like, oh, you're talking about his basketball career, like from Denver to Minnesota. I'm like, not the Gophers. I'm like, what? Yeah. So I looked it up. I'm like, how did I don't know this name at all.
Wow.
I know the teams he played on. I looked it up. He was on like the 91, 92 teams.
Okay.
Like he played with, Vashawn Leonard, who went on to have like a decent career in the NBA. And a couple other guys. Yeah, Bob Martin played for the Wolves for a minute.
Oh, dig it. Oh, wow. I'm going to tell him that's going to... Well, that's going to make his day until I start bringing up people he played with that went on to play professionally. But he was at the Borgata. Yeah, that whole site. I'm always happy when I hear that people do listen because I've gotten better at being more disciplined in recording. This week we ran into a speed bump because Dante Nero, who has a podcast, the Beige Phillip podcast. I just did his, and he was supposed to do mine on Monday before we left, but he actually misscheduled something.
Nope.
And I was like, oh, well, okay, guess we'll do it. So I had a dark week where I wasn't able to.
Gotcha. I look back, I noticed that maybe like the last summer, you took some time off?
Yeah.
Is there something big going on there?
Well, you know what? No, it became a challenge. I lost my sister passed.
Oh, geez.
And my heart wasn't in it. It went from being this fun endeavor to a chore where I lacked any motivation, and I didn't want to record and give people a half piece of work because I'm like, it's still me, it's still my art, and I still want to present my full 100% commitment to it, but I wasn't, and then certain gigs like doing the cruise gigs, the money was great, but attempting over a 2-year period, I realized attempting to upload a podcast from the Caribbean is a feat because there's I've gone to some islands where the internet is down for the entire island.
Yeah.
Like, wait, the whole island, the whole country, there's just no service in that? Nah, man. I'm like, okay. And that just became frustrating. Yeah. So when I go on the road, when I go do the cruise gigs, I let people know in advance, you won't hear an episode for 2 weeks, but when I get back, I'll have, and it's become fun again. I've made sure I've had a couple more guests on the For the Market Protocol. Also, my producer Joseph Vesey, he's been busy with Adam Sandler because he helped co-write and produce The Week Of with Sandler and Chris Rock. That's on Netflix right now. Yeah. And so it's almost like the band broke up. No bad feelings. I'm very proud of Joseph, but that was part of the fun. Was having him and Big Mike, our sound guy, come and sit in my living room and us just talk and have these great conversations because Vesey and I have such opposite viewpoints at times, and we're from different time periods and different worlds, and so the contrast actually made for some great entertaining episodes. Which I've looked back, I think we're at about I think we're probably like 160-ish. And I looked at, we've had some great guests, from people that stand out, Judah Friedlander and Ted Alexandro and Greer Barnes, Big Jay Ogerson. I think those were some of my favorite ones because we did 3 episodes because Jay and I just will go and we probably yapped for 3 or 4 hours. I was like, we gotta just keep going because you don't want to stop the bum run.
I listen to a lot of times when I leave here from doing the podcast on Thursdays, the bonfire's on my drive home.
Okay. Yeah.
So I listen to that a lot. Him and Dan Soder.
Yeah. I just called in. What was that? That was maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was
to the bonfire.
Yeah, I never. Is that the one on XM?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was driving home. I never have the car. Like my wife, like I said, school's out, so I had the car on a Thursday afternoon, and I just turned to Sirius, and they were on, and I don't even. What were they talking about? I know we wound up. I wound up. They said your name, you call. I was like, man, this is Dean Edwards. They were like, who? I said, Dean. I've guest told. They were like, oh, Dean, what's up? Yeah, hold on. Okay, we're gonna put you on with the guys, and sat through like a whole segment, and then I actually sat at a grocery store in the parking lot because I didn't want to go around the corner, go home. Because my wife's like, why are you sitting in the car?
Yeah.
So I sat in the car for an extra half hour
to get on with them,
just yapping about the new Karate Kid, which I just realized I got to watch the Karate Kid, the Cobra Kai. I heard is really good, and Snoop Dogg doing those commercials for erectile dysfunction, some pill. We had fun as we always do.
Have you watched him hosting the Joker's Wild?
I've turned past it because you're on the road and you're like, wait, why is Snoop Dogg in a tuxedo, in a red velvet tuxedo?
My wife and I watched an episode the other night.
Yeah, and we actually joked about that. We like Snoop has sort of transcended rap, where he's now. I mean, middle America loves him.
He's Ice Cube.
Soccer moms love him. I think he's even further than Ice Cube.
Think so?
Because Cube didn't. He did the Are We There Yet? But he didn't star in the TV shows. And
That's true.
And TV is different than film. Lauren Michaels, is an advocate for always stating the truth. And Lauren said, the difference between TV and film is movie, even if you have a movie pass, you have to pay to go out of your house and sit in the dark with these people. With television, you're inviting people in your living room, into your bedroom. You're inviting people into the room where you make love, where you masturbate, where you just are in your underwear, And so people have to like you. And whereas Cube, I think, was likable and there's a charm and endearing spirit to him in the Are We There Yet? Snoop is on at that show comes on sometimes 11, 12 o'clock at night, and I'm literally in bed. I'm like, wait, why is Snoop in my bedroom at this hour?
The episode we watched, there was a pretty attractive black female was one of the contestants.
Of course there was.
And Snoop.
A lot of them are actors. A lot of those contestants are actors out
trying
LA.
to just get on TV.
Just wanting some exposure.
No, yeah. I've figured that out over the years. And but Snoop is like, come on, baby girl, do your thing.
Oh, girl, you don't love me. You love my doggy style.
It's just, it's like, man, I'm almost uncomfortable watching how much he's hitting on this chick. Man.
Yeah, and waiting for her to come. Hashtag me too.
Oh, come on, baby girl, do what you do.
Do what you do. Ooh, oh, ooh, ooh. Snoop always sounds like he's on the verge of ejaculation. Like that? Ooh, wee.
Let's see what else. What time we got here? All right, here's another thing I want to ask you about. We got some time here.
I'm glad you. Thank you though for listening to the Father Mugger Protocol on SoundCloud and iTunes. What do you listen on? I'm always curious what people listen on. SoundCloud, iTunes.
Nope.
What's that other one? Well, you can just tell me.
I'll tell you. I use Laughable.
Oh wow. Okay.
You ever use Laughable?
No. I'll now plug that one too.
Have you ever heard of Laughable?
I have. I actually have heard of Laughable.
I really like it because you can search by name. And it just organizes things so well. Like if I search Dean Edwards, the first result will be your podcast.
Oh, wow.
And then every one of them that you've done. Well, not every one, but just about every one of them that you've done in chronological order.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, and it's got, if I click on your picture, it's got a little info bio on it. Yeah, I like it a lot.
Oh, wow.
I like it a lot.
Download that. What are some of your favorite podcasts?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah, obviously The Bonfire, if you listen consistently.
Yes, I really like The Crab Feast.
Crab Feast, Ryan and
Jay Larson.
Jay, yeah. They actually were in sort of integral in me starting the podcast because I did theirs, and then I just was picking their brains about it. I was curious about it. I was like, and because we were in Qatar, we were overseas in Qatar, Jay and I, and there were guys in the Air Force that they knew him from the Crab Feast, and I was like, oh, okay. There's something to this podcast.
For sure. Yeah.
Tell me more.
So I like that one. I was the last time I was here at Acme was Sunday, which I don't think I've ever said that before. 'Cause it's closed on Sundays normally. But I was here this past Sunday because Jimmy Pardo was here doing a live recording of his podcast, Never Not Funny.
Dig it. Okay.
I've been listening to that one, as he said on stage here, which I think this is pretty cool. He's been doing that show for 12 years.
Wow.
Podcast for 12 years. My oldest daughter just turned 12 on Tuesday, this past Tuesday.
Happy belated.
Yes, happy birthday, Megan, even though you'll never hear this, I don't think. And I remember pushing her around in a stroller as an infant, listening to his podcast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's just, that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. And that was back when you would go on iTunes and search comedy under the podcast, and like 6 popped up.
Right.
There weren't many, like there is now.
And now there.
So those are some of my favorites. Marins, I kind of pick and choose some of those. Don't listen as much as I used to.
Right. But he's pop now. It's pop. You know, it's almost like when a band you're into an independent band and you love them, and then the masses jump on it, and you're like, I was down with them when no one cared. I don't know if I'm a fan of his new material.
Exactly. So I wanted to bring up something. There's a comic that works Acme about once a year. His name is Kermit Apio. Really funny guy.
Where was his background? That's an interesting last name.
Hawaiian.
Apio.
Yep. He's from Seattle, Hawaii, Hawaiian roots, I guess you would say. And very, very funny guy. One of the nicest guys in comedy, but very funny as well. I'm not saying he's nice to make up for that. He's not funny. No, he's both.
Right.
He's legit both.
Right, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's why it's funny when people do that. You know,
true,
is he funny? Hey, he's a cool cat.
Yeah.
You're like,
no shit, I'm not saying that.
Right.
This was his Facebook status from the other day, and I want to get as a parent, I want to get your opinion on this. This is his status, Kermit Apio. My daughter was sent to the dean's office for making an inappropriate joke in class. Me discussing it with her is like Evel Knievel telling his kid about the importance of helmets.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That is funny.
Anything like that happen to you, where like your daughters are like, I can't get mad at them for this?
Well, you know what? There are times my approach to discipline sometimes differs from my wife's approach to discipline, and so when you're in a relationship or when you're married and you have kids, you don't necessarily want to sacrifice your integrity, but you also don't want to step on your spouse's toes, and so you walk that fine line of not losing yourself in what they're attempting to do, but also respecting what they're attempting to do. So, my kid, there are times, you know, when they make me laugh, it's hard to discipline them, because I'm like, yeah, but it's funny, I'm like, if it's funny, you kind of won, but I also trust that they know right from wrong. Trust that we've done a good enough job for them to know how far to go before it's too far, and then my nostrils are flaring and you're seeing that vein in my neck, you know. And they've been pretty cool about knowing not to go too far.
That's good.
Not going wood.
Right.
But that is funny. I'm curious what the joke was.
Oh, people were grilling him, and he's like, I just can't.
Of course not, because he as a parent, he also wants. Well, it's two-sided. You don't want to say the joke and then have, because people on social media specifically, everyone's a judge. Yeah. Everyone and most people love yelling, love all caps, right? Caps lock. And whatever the joke could be something so simple, could have the most minute reference to religion or race or to Hawaiians, where, she might have said something that someone from the outside looking at it would say, wow, that's offensive to Hawaiians.
Yeah, all he did say was that, like, I'm not going to tell exactly what it is, but it was a note between her and her close friend in class that nobody was supposed to see.
Yeah,
one of those jokes, just between you and a friend. The teacher just happened to walk by, grabs the note, and then as he said, she knew immediately, oh, shit.
Of course.
He's not going to understand that this is just a joke between me and my friend. I'm in trouble. Yeah.
Right. And that, so the bigger issue was she needs to learn how to pass her notes without getting caught. Right. You need to learn how to pass the notes on the low. But
who's writing notes on paper anymore? Doesn't she have a phone?
Right. I almost appreciate the throwback feel to her note pass, and she was like, nah, if I'm gonna pass notes, I'm gonna do it properly. We're not sending it in the cloud.
Right.
Put it in the cloud, and it's there. Someone's listening or watching.
Hey, when I saw, you mentioned briefly, and I saw the picture on, I don't know, Instagram or something, that Severson stopped in here?
Yeah.
Did he do it? Did he come up on stage? No.
I would have loved to watch. Nick is funny. No, the other night, we were doing the meet and greet after the show, and towards the latter part of the meet and greet, like the club's pretty much almost emptied out. A couple of people hanging out in the bar. It's a Tuesday. And I see this group of guys walk downstairs, and I actually thought it was a crew of guys, the dudes that were sitting in the back, because there were about 3 or 4 dudes with like baseball caps and shorts and just hanging out. So I was like, someone forgot something. And then he walked. I was like, yo, Nick. He was like, well, come here, buddy. And we kicked it for. For a couple of hours. We sat here for probably a good hour and a half with Shannon, who's doing a great job featuring.
She's great.
And Mike, I think the host. Is it Mike?
Is it Mike Lester this week?
Young, tall, young.
Yeah.
He looks very young, but he's probably not.
Yes.
Yeah. And we no, Mike actually left, so it was Nick's crew. His opener's name is, I think, Rob, and Shannon. We were sitting in the back, not in the green room, but just in this back hallway, talking about Solo and Infinity Wars, because she's a big.
I know.
Yeah, I could have. It was awesome. Just meeting a woman that shares similar sensibilities with regards to and similar appreciation and reverence to. Comic book lore and sci-fi.
Oh yeah,
it was dope, man. We enjoyed.
Oh yeah, people have heard her on this podcast.
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually. I'm gonna do hers on Saturday. We'll probably go grab lunch and maybe do it here. I'm not sure.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I said no. We definitely because she was like, yeah, I want to talk with someone that knows Star Wars, and I hit her with some Star Wars info. You haven't seen Solo yet?
I haven't. It's the only one of the newest ones where I have not gone opening night.
I didn't either, but I think that's part of the problem with Disney cranked this one out
too soon.
Way too soon. Because Last Jedi just came out in December. So was that less than 7 months ago?
But yeah,
Last Jedi dropped, and if you've been with Star Wars for a long time, the original movies, there was a 3-year spacing. And then with the Phantom Menaces, it was sort of like a 2-year. And now this, even though every year, you're like, okay, but 2 within a same
No, they screwed up.
It's too much.
They screwed up.
Especially for a story that people aren't really pressed to hear or see about.
Right.
I don't think the movie was like people complaining. I didn't think the movie was bad. I was entertained. There were some lulls. There were some things. There were some Easter eggs. There's actually a chronological issue that I'm not going to reveal, but there was one Easter egg. This is for the people that have seen it. Mm-hmm. There's one Easter egg that has a nod towards one of the prequels, and that nod would have. It kind of didn't make sense because that means Han Solo is very old.
Oh,
because if they did that reference, I'm like, well, in the Phantom Menace, he wouldn't have been born.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because Phantom Menace, Darth Vader was a kid.
Right. Annie.
Right. Annie. So that was my little, and so when I said that to her, she was like, "Oh, you know what? No one's pointed that out to me." And I said, "Yeah." I said I'm a big Star Wars junkie, and a comic book junkie too. But Star Wars, like I've even there was a character from Force Awakens that was referenced in Solo that a lot of people didn't catch.
Oh,
she
okay.
She didn't catch, and she was like, "I didn't see. I'll have to see it again."
See, just like those Infinity Wars spoilers that I'm trying to avoid, I'm also seeing like Easter egg, but I'm not. But I haven't looked any farther.
That's why I respect, because someone ruined the Force Awakens for me. Literally less than an hour before I went to see it, I'm very aware. And I know there's some people like, I don't care. I'm like, yeah, but let someone tell you they don't care before you just spill the beans.
Completely. Yeah, we were going to go see it last weekend. Mm-hmm. It was going to be. We were going to celebrate I told you it was my daughter's birthday on Tuesday. Right. We're going to do. We're going to do the birthday day that day. I reserved a. We were going to go to dinner at one of these Szechuan.
Oh, nice. Hibachi?
Hibachi,
yes.
I
love the hibachi.
The best. My daughter picked it. I was like, oh, that's such a great idea.
Yeah,
yes,
awesome.
I love that. Great excuse to go to one of those places.
Yeah, man.
Before that, we were going to go see Solo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, she woke up with a fever and then ended up having strep throat.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah, we really didn't leave the house.
Didn't
see the movie, didn't go have dinner.
Is she better now?
Better now.
Yeah, but when her birthday arrived, she was feeling a little better?
Yes.
Good,
and then
good.
School for my kids ended this week. Mm-hmm. So my one kid was done Monday. The other one was done Tuesday on her birthday.
Yeah. That was the best gift.
Yeah, right?
It's over.
Yeah.
Finally, was she 7th grade? 6th,
We'll be going into 7th grade.
Okay, yeah.
Just finished 6th.
Okay.
Yeah. And they moved the last day of school up because her school's having construction or something. So what a birthday present.
Hey, why not? Hey, take it.
Your birthday's last day. Before we go here, I want to do you should promote something you're doing that I think is really funny, and that's that Dean Zell little bits that you do every now and then.
I've been doing these Deans. I have to edit. I had so many plans today that were sort of, I won't say thwarted, but I wound up getting this last minute, this big film audition. And my manager, when I finished media this morning, I got back to the hotel, I called him. He was like, I was just about to hit you. You're psychic. I was like, okay, this is a good sign. And he sent me the info. So the rest of my day of me editing the Dean Zell that was supposed to drop this week got pushed back to, I guess, this afternoon, evening. Because I recorded I've already recorded everything. I just have to now edit it, because that's the film school student in me that I like to. I see a lot of people just record and put it out. I'm like, I want to do a little something, but I do these Denzel/Dean Zell Washington things where I in Denzel Washington's voice, he just reflects on something going on currently in the news. We started with I think we did the Kanye West, slavery was a choice debacle, and we've done the players kneeling, getting the league saying that they have to go into the back in the locker room if they want to not support the national anthem, and that one came, You know what? I posted the reason I did that Denzel one. It's funny where the ideas come from because my wife is always like, "What are you?" She likes him, so she's like, "What are you doing this week?" I'm like, "I don't know." So
she still loves you. That's a good sign, man.
Yeah. You know, and so that one came from. If any of you follow me on Facebook. Someone quote, there were people that when the news came out, I posted the cover of the Daily News, and a couple of people, I think people lose sight of why people were kneeling, right?
Yeah, for sure they do.
Yeah, and instead of addressing the bigger issue at hand is specifically black men getting gunned down by the cops, but more generally just bad cops abusing their authority and not being penalized in any way. And that's why the players are kneeling. There was a Marine on Tuesday night. There was a Marine sitting right there, stage right. And he and I, when I found out he was a Marine, I was like, you know what? Be one with the audience. Let's have this conversation. So I asked him how he felt. What did he believe?
Oh, really?
With regards to players kneeling, and he said, and he raised a valid point. He said, you know what? I just feel, which I'm not a fan of everyone starting sentences with, well, I just feel. I'm like, I don't want to hear your emotional response to it. I want to hear your belief and your logic with regards to why you believe that way. But most of people's ideas are spawned out of their emotional reaction to something. So I'm not angry with it, but I just think now we live in an era where everyone's like, well, I just feel. I'm like, well, don't tell me about your feeling. Tell me why. Give me a rational reason, right? So he believed that this is the one time that when that is supposed to bring everyone together. Well, it's all of us standing together in solidarity. And so I said, I understand your point. I said, I don't agree with your point. I said, but what I appreciate was, I said this to the audience, I said, I don't want anyone upset with him because he spoke. That's his truth. You shouldn't get offended because someone spoke. I said, we're having a conversation. We're not caps lock conversation. I said, that's the problem with social media. Because when I posted that on Instagram and Facebook, this is someone that must follow me. So you know I'm not heavily into politics where I'm going to. You don't know how I feel most of the time, but as a black male, as a person of color, I felt a particular type of way about this, and that was feeling. And so I said, you know what, I'm posting. So I posted, and then I saw a bunch of people commenting from the same position I had, and then two individuals. Added commentary, and then everyone else was stepping in and saying something. And I said, you know what? This is why I don't like posting things like this, because you're not going to change anybody's feelings. No. You're not going to change anyone's opinion, anyone's position with text, right? It is not going to happen. But I said, you know what? I'm going to see if I can at least elaborate to them in an eloquent and compassionate way, not attacking their views, but just letting them know, you know what, this is why. So one gentleman, launched into a tirade about, I'm sick of these rich millionaires that want to come off their high horse and support a cause, but it's all selfish because they're taking a knee for their own selfish agenda. Another woman said, you know what, these are not, these similar rang true of what he was saying. She was saying, you know what, I think it's selfish and it's disrespectful and blah, blah, blah. So I said, you know what, I opened with respectfully, I disagree. I am a veteran. Yeah. But I disagree. I said, you know what, it seems there's some sort of contradiction because you're saying they're taking me for selfish reasons, but if it's a team full of people taking me, then they're not all unified for one selfish goal. They're all unified because they see a problem, they take issue with, and Colin Kaepernick used to sit, but a a Marine veteran team member suggested, you know what, sitting is disrespectful. If you take a knee, that's a way of showing.
Oh, I never knew this part.
Yeah, man, look it up. A Marine slash teammate of Kaepernick's actually spoke to him and said, you know what, because initially he was just sitting. He was sitting during the anthem.
Yeah, okay.
And I wish I knew the player's name. I don't watch football like that. But the player said to him, you know what, why don't you take a knee, because this is how we respectfully protest. But you're saying you're not protesting the anthem. You're not protesting America. You're just saying, you know what, there's a problem that I think needs to be addressed. And that's where the focus should lie.
Right.
But instead, people have convoluted that cause into and it comes down from the highest seat when you have the president saying those sons of bitches. Wait, you also called John McCain. I don't like my heroes caught. This dude, he didn't dodge the draft. He didn't dodge his responsibility. So how dare you call him a coward for getting caught because he was fighting a war that you were hiding from?
Yeah, nothing cowardly about that.
Yeah, so we got into, and I wrote if you go to Facebook, and it was probably 2 weeks ago I posted it, and I actually wrote it on my notes because I didn't want to press send by mistake.
Oh, okay.
I went and I actually read it, wrote it, reread it.
Copy paste?
Because I wanted to make sure, I didn't want to offend or speak in a disparaging way towards the people that commented, because these are people that obviously follow me and support me.
Yeah.
And I appreciate your ideas, and let's have this conversation. And maybe you can hear where we're coming from versus you. I sent that, nothing. They still stayed in the same place that they didn't. They were so dogmatic in having the blinders on and believing that they're right. And someone actually said, I think it's funny, Dean, you just wrote this eloquent response and they still didn't. They answered nothing that you asked. I'm almost tempted to just pull up the mess, because it was amazing. And I said, in my long comment, I said, I'm not going to get into a back and forth. I'm saying this, and then like a friend of mine, she's a judge, and she went and added commentary to what they were saying. Like, well, no, you're wrong. They actually pointed out things they said that are totally off the mark.
There you go.
Because I'm not. It's not worth it. So that turned into me. We were in Walmart on Memorial Day, and my wife, I think she might have. I saw all the paraphernalia, all the American flag paraphernalia, from sunglasses to flag boxer shorts. And I said, well, you know what? The flag code actually states that all of these things are not part of the flag code.
Right.
So technically, if I see somebody, if you're gonna convolute and equate that someone taking a knee during the national anthem is being disrespectful to the flag, then you should take disrespect. You should, as someone wearing a pair of boxer shorts with the American flag pattern, that's disrespectful. And a frame, an 8x10 picture flag frame is disrespectful because that's not the flag code. But that's part of the problem, is that, everyone is sort of an armchair patriot. Because there's a difference between patriotism and nationalism, and people that are saying that's non-patriotic. No, patriotic is actually taking a knee, because you live in a country where you can take a knee without fear of some sort of action against you. Even though now, under this current administration, people have let it be known that there are actions that are getting taken against you because you'll get fined if you do it. So that's anti-American in my eyes and a lot of people's eyes, versus nationalists who's saying, "Nah, I love America." Why? Because I do. Damn it, my First Amendment rights, and I'm like, yeah, but now you're rooting for your team just because you're rooting for your team.
Right.
They're Cleveland Cavalier fans that even though Cleveland at this current moment is down 3-0, and by the time, I don't know when the podcast drops, but by the time somebody hears this at some point, we're going to know whether Cleveland got swept or if they were able to win one or win multiple games. But when I'm wearing a Yankee fitted, right? Me saying, nah, New York is the best state. Well, why is it the best state? Do they have? Do they make the most money? Nah, it's just the best. That's me being a local nationalist for my state versus me saying, nah, man, I love New York because we have great pizza. And well, that's the patriotism towards my state. I'm touting the reasons and rationale why versus just a blind feeling of commitment and support. You know.
Did you see what the Minnesota Lynx did? Our WNBA team.
No.
They the whole Eagles got uninvited. The White House. Right. The Lynx won the most recent WNBA championship.
Right.
Did not get invited to the White House. They were playing this week.
And they wound up going. I saw it on the news.
They were in Washington playing the Mystics.
Right.
Had the day off. Instead of they didn't get invited, they took a what do they call it? A service day, and they went and they had put it together a thing where they got clothes or something for a low income school. 300 and some kids got gifts from the WNBA players on their day off.
Wow, that's
in Washington.
Dope. That's dope.
In Trumpstown.
And this whole this whole fake news approach to or what is it, the alternative facts, you know, if you invited me and I said, nah, I'm not going, you can't uninvite me after. That's like you approaching a woman, her saying no, and then you going, oh, bitch, I didn't want to be. Like, yeah, you did. You posed the invite, and then you retracted it. Yeah. But it's too late. Mm-hmm. But people, like I said, people become so dogmatic that they, instead of hearing the truth, they want to hear they're on one team or another team, and so if their team is in the wrong, they're gonna say, well, damn it, nah, they stick to the script.
Right. You're ugly anyway.
Right. I'm like, okay, but we know it just happened.
Yep.
Everybody said no. So check out my Dean's L's. I'm dropping them every week. I'm starting to do more utilizing my social media because for so many years people saying, you gotta become more viral. So I've been having a little more fun with it.
Yeah, put that stuff out. It's good stuff.
Yeah. I'm glad. Like I said, I'm glad you're listening to the For the Market Protocol. I hope your listeners, listen to. Like I said, we've done about 160 episodes. Listen to some old ones. You I love the ones with the veterans that everyone's not familiar with, but they should be. You know, because Ted Alexandro is a brilliant headliner. Everyone doesn't know him, but he's opening for Gaffigan. He's touring with Gaffigan.
Yeah. I'm a comedy nerd, so I know who he is.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's been a while since he used to. He used to work at Acme. I don't think he's been back here in years.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I know he just got married, and I know he's busy. Like, I mean, Gaffigan, if you're doing theaters with Jim Gaffigan, it's
a good gig.
You're like, I'll stick here a little longer. And that's, I like showcasing guys that I came up with that I believe other people should hear and know about and become fans of their work as well, so
I should leave with this, that if people are, because this will be posted the day that we're today. We're talking now.
Okay,
cool. There's a good chance people can hear this later today.
Good.
Yeah, we're getting a thumbs up from Brandon in the back. He will post it.
Brandon in the building, baby.
So if you are lucky enough to be coming to see Dean Edwards and everybody else here this weekend at Acme, either tonight, Thursday, 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday.
Yeah. And buy tickets in advance because we sold out a couple last time.
Good.
And I was happy.
Go to the website or call the club here and bring some money for some drinks, maybe dinner and a T-shirt.
Oh yeah, cop your cool for the market T-shirts, man. They people like. I'm always like, merch is hard to come up with. I've seen comics sell merch, but I've seen like what I consider sort of hack merch.
Yeah.
But if you have like a good joke tied into merch that is functional, like my T-shirts it's a fly shirt. Like when people, because I want to wear it, and so I actually do wear it. But the quality of the T-shirts I got, I make sure that it's form fitting without being tight, so that even if you have slight muscles, it looks like, oh, I did some curls today.
Why are you looking at me when you're saying that, man?
So come out and we'll rock out. And I've been working like for the last month while I was home in New York. I was just ironing out a bunch of new material, and it's a lot of new material. If you came and saw me in 2016, you'll get a new experience, and you'll walk out of here. This older woman came up to me. She's like, I almost peed myself because I had to go, but I was holding it in, and oh my gosh, you were so fun. And that, to me, if you have someone almost urinate on themselves, that's the ultimate compliment, man. So Dean Edwards, I am Dean Edwards on all my social media. I am Dean Edwards, and For the Milk Protocol, check it out. And we have some. Hopefully, next time I come back, I'll have booked this thing. I read for one word, Dolomite. Keeping the eye and the ear out, and fingers crossed that we book it.
Hell yeah. Thank you, Dean.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it, man. All love.